I just do cardio for like 15 minutes just to get the blood pumping, you know? Helps with your heart health. Helps with your digestive health. But, yeah. So I'm a little tired. I'm pretty...
Whenever I interacted with Kaine, I was reminded about something from my past.
Here we go.
My mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time.
This is where Route B
Here we go.
comes back. Also, let me know if the syncing's off. I think it's fine, though. Kaine's dreams. Discrimination. Oh, the fun. Oh, fun times. Here we go. Oh, yeah. The sound of rain filled the village. The steep cliffs that surrounded the area magnified sound, causing even the slightest drizzle to rattle like a thunderstorm. Good old the budget cut sections of this game. All text. Then wisps of smoke streamed from huts as the villagers huddled in their homes and waited out in the rain. Out the rain. Oh god, I'm bad. A single child, however, had braved the downpour and was now wandering slowly toward the wooden, hawk-shaped weather vane at the center of town. The wanderer reached the vane, which had existed for as long as any could remember, and stared. The child's face was simultaneously delicate and fierce, like a teacup that had survived a shipwreck. Those traits combined with pale white skin gave the face an almost sexless quality. That face has no sex. Mine doesn't either. If the big turns east, I go home. If it stays west, then I... The child blinked. Rain slowly dripped down the young one's short hair and began its long descent to the ground. This is... I think Route B is entirely like Kaine's story, so if I had to guess, this child is Kaine. Come on! Come on! The child felt a slight breeze and watched as the vein slowly creaked to life. Spinning this way and that for a moment, it finally settled with the beak pointing firmly towards the east. East? Really? Before the vein could move again, a jagged rock came spinning and tumbling through the air, finally striking home against the child's head. The force of the blow dropped the child to the ground as a hail of stones began to fall all around. Oh no, they found me! A heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued their assault. Oh. That's no good. Can't believe Kaine's fucking dead, yeah. People are being rude to her. Really bad. Through the rain, the sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before a voice rang out. Yoo-hoo, Kaine! I don't know what what kind of tone is that supposed to be? Sinister? I don't know. The voice belonged to Demo. Worst of all bullies in the area. Okay, yeah, it was good. As Kaine struggled to stand, a final stone came skittering through the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood oozed from the cut above her eye and blurred her vision, but she could make out the shapes of Demo and his usual gang of idiots. The boy seemed taken aback for a moment by Kaine's seemingly indifferent to the blood dripping from her face. But he regained his bravado. Notice me. Shock. Thanks for the... Man, I appreciate it. Man, thanks for choosing me for the Prime sub. Enjoy your slippery nuts. Enjoy your nut pies. Enjoy your ad quotes. Though you were a VIP, you had ad quote, but no, gotta do it. Enjoy your no ad. Awesome. Oh, you too, Shellshock. You're also. You're always helping me out with all your recommendations and network daddy. You gotta come up with a sound command though. Like how the notifications. I forgot I had a Twitch. Nice. Yeah, I don't have the box very big on those. I need to make them bigger. I just keep forgetting. The HTML box or whatever. When I originally put it in there, I didn't account for messages. What's up, freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or did you finally decide to run away from home? Though she knew it was futile, Kaine turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kaine knew those were not the only eyes on her. The tormentor's parents watched from the safety of their homes. She was attuned to this sensation. It was one she had experienced many times before. While some villagers simply turned a blind eye to the actions of the children, many encouraged it openly. In a society ruled by superstition and fear, Kaine was something to be hated, and if possible, destroyed. I did say you could leave, freak! Demo's words chewed at her like a worm through an apple. Can't hurt me. She lied to herself. Be strong, be brave. He can't hurt me, he can't hurt me, he can't hurt. Oh look, the little freak is gonna cry. What's wrong? Are you sad that everyone hates you and wants you dead? And he prayed for the rain to flood down and carry her away from the world that seemed to have no place for her. But if there were gods, they chose to ignore her. As Demo crept even closer, the clouds began to thin and the rain slowed. Gods even want her dead. The weather hates me. I'm useless. I'm a failure. Insert words. Wish Demo's rock had taken my head off. And it couldn't mean Demo's leering eyes. She lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. Now this is depressing. Yeah, Nier is a very depressing game. This is... The tagline I read from somebody else who quoted it from another person said that this game is about about, well, Nier, but in general, when you think you've lost all hope, you lose the last remaining hope you had. You could smell the scent of old meat on his breath. The boy grabbed Kaine's face with thick fingers and yanked it upwards. She tried to turn away, but he forced her gaze back and jammed his thumb against her eyelid to pry it open. You're a freak. No, I'm not. Did you just say no? Demo grinned evilly. You don't say no to me. No one says no to me. Not even taking his attention from Kaine, he called to his cohorts. Come on, guys. Let's give this freak what she deserves. As soon as Demo finished, kicks and blows began to rain down upon Kaine. Demo paused, still grinning, as Kaine curled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. I don't get you, freak. What you acting like a girl for, huh? Everyone knows what you really are. Now, there's that line right there. So I think he's referring to the fact that she has a shade inside of her. But also that reminds me, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. Yoko Taro said that Kaine is a futanari. If you don't know what that is, my innocent people out there, That's a girl with that has a penis as well. Thank you very much. There you go. I think Yoko Taro said that or hinted at it or something like that, but kinda ignored the question, choosing instead to stare at the weather vane. I think I said that. It continued to point east as if supremely confident about the future that she had chosen for her. Go home? Yeah, that's a funny joke for someone with dead parents and no home to go to. Wow, just drop the dead parents thing. Way to make it more depressing. Freak! And freak, freak, freak! And I closed her eyes and listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. As the clutching hands of the village children closed around her, she bent her mind to the sound of the rain, letting it become her entire world. Her world entire. That's an interesting way to arrange that. Rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when the laughter of her tormentors turned to terrified cries did she dare open a single blood-caked eye. Kaine was shocked to see Demo sprawled on the ground, holding his head and screaming in pain. You can see a blood welling from spaces between his fat, twisted fingers. My God, he's crying. He's actually crying! Deprived of their leader, the other children glanced back and forth between themselves as if waiting for someone to step forward and take charge. When no savior emerged, they began an uneasy shuffle away from Kaine. But the young girl was the least of their concerns. Instead, their attention was wrapped on the ancient woman standing a few feet away. Ancient woman? After struggling for breath for a moment, she finally spoke in a voice thick with rage. Dummy thick with rage. It's like a bitch, don't it? Now I suggest you scatter before I throw another one. And if you little bastards ever touch my Kaine again, I'll do far worse than throw a rock. You can count on it. The old woman crouched down and gently touched the hand Demo was using to cover the wound. Before he could think to protest, she ground her palm into the wound and twisted back and forth. Take that, child. You don't belong in this world. Oh! He screamed, leaping to his feet. Stop it! What are you doing? Quit whining. Ain't no one ever died from a scratch. You hit me with a rock, you stupid bitch! A big one! That thing could have killed me! The old woman shrugged. Eh. Death is the best cure for stupid. That's a good line. Demo's face twisted with rage at her words, locking his eyes on Kaine. He took a step backward and spat on the ground. I assume that's Demo. Get out and leave this village. No one wants to hear either of you. Yeah, that's him. Seeing the old woman grab another stone, Demo and his companions turned tail and ran. As they fled, the old woman grabbed her side and barked out a single laugh. Ah! Look at that fat boy go. Guess he's healthy enough to run from a fight. Also, if anyone was here and remembers, Kaine's talked about having a grandma a couple of times. Like, has been like very delusional. Like she thought one of the big shade monsters was her grandma for a bit, but it was like spewing. Oh, nice berry. Nice, commemorate it. Yeah, but he was like pooping out a scent that made Kaine go crazy or something. I don't know how it worked. The woman's smile faded as she turned her attention to Kaine. Kneeling down, she removed her sprawl and placed it around the young girl's shoulders, then produced a cloth from the folds of her dress and began blotting at the blood on her forehead. Oh, Kaine, she said. Oh, shit, though! He said some stuff. The words of her grandmother stung Kaine, and she turned away. Oh, I skipped a thing. Don't be so nice to me, she said. I don't deserve it. Nothing matters anymore. Her tears held in cheek for so long, finally began to fall to the muddy ground below, on the muddy ground, whatever. Everyone hates me. They think I caused bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was dead. As Kaine's tears turned to sobs, she felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength, and Kaine found herself unable to turn away. Don't talk like that, Kaine. It's a river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next, and it grants no mercy to any that attempt the crossing. You got a duty to fight until your last breath. Understand? The old woman tightened her grip and tried to still the tremor in her voice. You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kaine. You know because you survived it. As the words hit home, Kaine was struck by the force of her love for the old woman. As a young child, she didn't even know of her grandmother. When her parents died, the woman quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma, as Kaine called her, was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence. Their first few years together had not been easy. So, Kaine clearly got it from. But with each year that passed, Kaine and her grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now, sitting in the mud with tears and blood caked on her face, that Kaine truly understood the depths of her affection. Here was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things and somehow emerged on the other side. If anyone could understand Kaine's pain and loneliness, it was her. Do I make you sick, Grandma? Of course not. Don't be an ass. She got her mouth from her too. That's great. Kaine drew her grandmother's moth-eaten shawl around her body and shuddered. But my body, it's not normal. If I was normal, then Mom and Dad wouldn't. Like, does she have a shade in her yet? I don't know. Maybe this is referring to the Futanari. God, I need to do research on that after stream. don't. I don't want to research Futanari on the stream. For some weird reason. Now the shade fused after. Yeah, that's what I figured. I wonder if that's what that's about. Huh. You're reading the Kaine thing. The what? Her gender, her sexual organ thing? The wiki. Does it say? Is it confirmed? Because it could have been somebody's like weird sex fantasy. That I read rather than actual fact. Oh. Gosh, interpreted Grandma. Oh, interrupted. I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. Hermaphrodite. Yeah, there we go. See? I guess that's the technical term. Okay, so I'm not crazy. Oh wait. Okay, there I am. I read it funny. You're my granddaughter and I love you. And if folks have a problem with that, they can just go to hell. With that, the old woman reached out and placed a wreath of dried flowers in Kaine's hair. The skill it took to bend the flowers without breaking the stems or losing a single petal was remarkable, and the beauty of it made Kaine want to cry all over again. Oh my gosh, these are lunar tears! Grandma, you made this for me? Lunar tears were legendary flowers. Most people could live their entire lives without ever seeing one, and yet her grandmother had somehow collected a dozen or more. Kaine reached up and touched the wreath as if she couldn't believe it was real. Where did you find these? Oh, you know, just stumbled on them one day while I was out doing the shopping. The old woman turned away as she was explaining, leading Kaine to suspect that the search had been much more difficult than she was letting on. The pains she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in the construction, made Kaine's heart hurt. She reached up and gently adjusted the wreath, admiring the way it felt between her fingers. Didn't quite turn out right, said the grandmother as she squinted at it. These old hands have trouble with delicate work, but it sure looks great on a pretty girl like you. Kaine blushed and turned away. Oh. You think I'm pretty? Oh, of course you are. What a fool thing to say. Thank you, Grandma. Her grandmother smiled. We're gonna be fine, you and me. Long as we got each other, we'll be just fine. Kaine took her grandmother hand in ears, and the two of them struggled to their feet. As they began the long walk home, Kaine gripped the hand with all her might, as if trying to stop smoke from drifting away on the wind. Good description. The rain had stopped, and then her grandmother immediately died. Just heart attack. Knowing this game, yeah. The rain had stopped. Kaine stood beneath the weather vane, watching it spin in lazy circles, no longer caring about the direction it faced when it stopped. According to Wiki, Grimoire Yoko revealed that Kaine's gestalt was normal female replicant born a hermaphrodite due to long-running system. Interesting. Ah. What a I didn't know there could be errors in the system like that. If you don't know, so what we learned last time at the end of Route A was that shades, these black dark creatures, they're like black and yellow. They're actually humans. So humans were dying as a species, so they separated their bodies from their souls. I don't know if we learned that exact part, but I don't think that matters. And the souls ended up over time turning into shades. And what they planned on doing was creating replicants, which are husks. And the husks, the souls were supposed to return to the husks' bodies. But a lot of the shades ended up just kind of going crazy and like trying to kill people and whatnot. And the replicants, the husks, started to develop consciousnesses of their own. And that's who we are in the game. That's who the Nier main character is. That's who Kaine is. I don't know about Emil. I don't know if Emil's a replicant. I don't think it matters to on him. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loves me, and that's enough. Even if it's us against the world. Kaine let her gaze drift up past the vein and into the cloudy sky. The last hints of a rainbow were slowly fading. And she turned and headed for home. The light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away on the breeze. Yay. Next chapter. Yes, more words, please, Daddy, yes. In the distance, Kaine heard the steady sounds of an axe striking the wood. The noise has purposeful quality to it, as if she was hearing a master woodsman go about his work. The firewood being produced, however, was as far from a work of art as could be. Pieces of every shape and size were being flung about a barren yard with wild abandon. Anyone trying to stack such wood would probably die of frustration before the job was through. Stupid piece of shit, axe! Kaine's grandmother flailed away with the axe, filling the air with both splinters of wood and words that would make the most hardened sailor blush. Grandma! Called Kaine. That was like a half kid, half old person voice. What? Yelled the old woman, taking her eyes off the wood for a moment. Oh, it's you, Kaine. Question mark. Don't get too close or I might take your goddamn foot off by mistake. He brought the axe down on a piece of wood, sending chips flying in every direction. One spun past Kaine close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. Once she scuttled to a safe distance, she cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, Grandma! You need help! I can get you water or lunch or, a new axe or something. The axe poised to strike another wobbly blow, paused in midair. The old woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment, then smiled. Tell you what, as I'm doing such a piss-poor job of chopping, why don't you come here and take over so I can go get the water? Days have been restless lately, and I don't want you running into one of them bastards. Relinquishing the axe, her grandmother picked up a long pole with wooden buckets on either end. What are those things called? Like, don't yaks have them sometimes? They're called like I don't know. Gathering water was by far the most difficult of the two jobs, but Kaine knew better than to complain. Once Grandma's mind was set, there was no changing it. Kaine did her best to help with chores, for Grandma took every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of plausible excuses, Kaine knew the real reason. She didn't want her grandmother to be taunted and harassed by the villagers. Once Kaine moved in, Grandma decided to take up residence a good distance from the area. Out of sight, out of mind. I literally just realized that they're in the area, and the area's filled with just a bunch of bastards. Out of sight, out of mind seemed... Because, yeah, Kaine's shack thing was there, too. But I didn't realize that this story was taking place around the area. They said it before, but I didn't internalize it. Out of sight, out of mind seemed to be the best policy when it came to the villagers and her grandmother. And rare were the days when any but the two of them could be found on the rocky acre of land they called home. Emil seems to be human, at least before the experiments. Okay, that makes sense, because Emil's, like, really old. Kaine enjoyed the solitude, but harbored a secret resentment that her grandma was forced to spend golden years in such a place. After watching her grandmother leave, Kaine turned her attention to the task at hand. She had never chopped wood before in her life, and soon discovered why the old woman hated the chore. Swing after swing, the axe produced only a tiny crack in the wood. When she finally managed to connect with a solid stroke, the tool embedded itself in the log and refused to budge. Frustrated, Kaine swung the axe around her head and threw it, log and all, across the yard. Damn it, ugh, crap! She suddenly understood the joy of her grandmother felt in a good curse. Happier now, she picked up the axe and forced it from the wood, and resumed chopping. She had a natural skill with the blade, but the task was challenging and blisters soon began to form on her small pink hands. This is tough. My logs are all weird sizes. Spitting on her palms and ignoring the pain, Kaine redoubled her efforts. You know what one of the worst things is? When you're using goddamn, like, tools like that, like shovels or whatever, and they, like, vibrate or whatever because you like slam something and I think it like vibrates a lot and your hands get all fucking burny. Does that make sense? I hate that. Just as she was developing her rhythm, Grandma returned from the village. Sitting down in her buckets with a small sigh, she took one look at the logs and coughed out a wheezy laugh. Pretty clumsy, girl. You better practice if you... Her grandmother suddenly collapsed to her knees, causing one of the buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, Kaine dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. Oh no, Meep. Meep, what have you done? You did this to Grandma. Grandma! The old woman shook her head and pointed a trembling finger at the bucket. Get the bucket. Can't let it spill. Kaine steadied the bucket with a foot as she knelt by her grandma. A small bit of water sloshed over the side and made a new home in the hem of her dress, but Kaine didn't notice. Mifu killed Grandma. Mifa, you monster. Grandma, what's happening? Raised with panic, she grabbed her grandmother by the shoulders and shook. After a moment, the woman lifted her arms and batted Kaine away. Stop that. Just stop now, she cried, breathing heavily. It ain't like I'm dying. Just tired from the trip is all. Kaine desperately wanted to believe her. But one look at the old woman's shaking hands and worn face told her more than words could ever could. Hey, don't shoot the mess. No, Meep. You did this. Your grandmother had lived a long, hard life, and it seemed the bill was coming due. The time when her grandmother watched over Kaine was ending. Sooner than either of them had feared, positions would be reversed. How did you do this? Because you said you cursed it. The next morning, Kaine came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. Grandma, you're sick. You need medicine. I'm going to the village. The old woman shook her head and tried to rise, but Kaine gently pushed her down. It's all right, she said. I'll be fine. Her grandmother fixed her with a gaze that could melt steel. After what seemed an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. Well, I don't like it, god damn it. I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up. The old woman watched as Kaine strapped on her boots and made her way down the road to the village. Hours later, as an unseen sun made its way across the dark and rainy sky, she was still watching. Kaine moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure the money her grandma gave her was still there. Yeah, me fatigue like Grandma's gonna be dead when Kaine gets back. Don't do this, Meep. Don't do this. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by a shade or worse, Demo and his gang. But she encountered neither tormentors nor shades, and Kaine finally found herself at the entrance of the village. The few adults she could see glanced sideways at her, then muttered to each other behind raised hands, or slinking away into the shadows. Her heart racing, Kaine took a series of rapid, shallow breaths and tried to calm herself. I have to prove myself. I have to help Grandma. I have to be strong. She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly made her way. Finally, her eyes settled on a rotund, older woman. Is it rotund or rotund? I don't hear that word very much. I think it's rotund. Who was angrily waving her arms in the air and telling anyone who would listen exactly what she thought of Kaine's presence. Hey, lady, said Kaine with a bravado she did not feel. Where's the apothecary? The woman's flabby cheeks shook with bewildered anger. Kaine's out of your bang list. Been here now. Oh, Kaine's on my bang list. I don't care. She's on it. second place? Third? Maybe third. Same. Yeah, who cares? How dare this thing speak to me? They seemed to say. But Kaine saw that her eyes held a different emotion, fear. Why would you be scared? Is this the entire route? No, it's not. This is, from what I remember, this is just the beginning of the route. So, there's hard budget cuts. Yeah, we're both scared, lady. Trust me on this one. Which way? Kaine repeated. The woman pointed at a small building to her right before hitching up her dress and stumbling off in the other direction. So why the fuck? I guess people can be afraid, but like if you ever learned that somebody had some weird physical abnormality, like say, I don't know, a penis that they're not supposed to have, why would you be scared? Why would there be fear? I guess I'm progressive or something. I just be like, oh yeah, you got a penis. Hey, I have one too. Isn't that neat? Stellar gameplay. Oh yeah, you bet. But Mifa, I thought you liked books. Kaine cringed, expecting a stone to come flying from the assembled crowd, but no one came. You can sword fight. Yeah, there's sword fight. After all the text. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride as she made her way to the apothecary, but the new emotion had little time to take root, for as soon as she opened the door, she noticed a familiar customer at the counter. It was Demo. He'd clearly been sent here on some kind of family errand. Because of his gang of followers, was nowhere to be found. It could have, like, having all of this being dialogue would have made it more entertaining, but it would have been basically like the same thing. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have such descriptive language, obviously, but as a streamer, this makes streaming a lot harder. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have sex with somebody with a penis. That would... Yeah, exactly. Like, imagine somebody walked up to you and they told you that they had 2 penises. Okay, scratch that. If somebody walked up to me and said that they have 2 penises and I didn't know them, I'd be a little concerned as to why they're telling me this. But if I knew they had 2 penises, I wouldn't treat them any differently. Oh my god, he sputtered. I mean, what are you doing here, freak? It's supposed to be God, not go. I've seen too much silent porn unintentionally. You know, we've all seen the porn we don't want to see. I've seen silent porn, though, actually, and I didn't want to. The insult was delivered without force, and Kaine happily ignored it. Stretching on tiptoes to see over the counter, she asked the shopkeeper for the medication. "Huh!" barked Demo. "That old bitch finally keel over." "Go to hell, Demo." Oh, the quotes. A great archive of Mifa's words. The boy's eyes grew so wide they seemed ready to fall out of his head. But before he could let fly a comeback, or worse, a punch, the apothecary told him to knock it off before he kicked them out of the store. Demo slunk out of the shop, cursing Kaine under his breath. Once he was gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner prepared her medication. Countless tiny bottles filled the cramped store. each with a label written in some indecipherable language. An ocean of aromas assaulted her nose, creating a scent that was exotic but not altogether unpleasant. You ever go into those like perfume shops or those like shops with just tons of smelly shit? I hate those. Overwhelming. It reminds me of. But those are unpleasant. At least to me. Surely in a world so vast, there would be a place that she could call home. On the far wall behind the counter, rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had once contained bright, vibrant colors, but time had worked its magic, and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of the work, however, remained undiminished. You like that? Wait, you like that picture? Anna turned to find the apothecary with a small vial of medicine in his hand. His eyes were gentle but sad, and they seemed to stare through her and into nothing as he spoke. That's my daughter. I sketched it when she was just a little girl. She's been dead for a long time now. Good, everyone's dead. What's up, Shellshock? Kaine didn't know how to respond. Jeebus! Oh no, during the most amazing gameplay. Wait, John Capri, didn't he rate us last time we were in a novel section? Oh no. John Capri with the raid! Playing Bloodstained again. What's up there, Sean? How you doing? Thanks for that raid. Welcome, raiders. I hope there's no ad. Thanks for that shout out. Meep. What's up there, David Ray? Capri Pants raid. Still not wearing capris. I am wearing gym shorts again. There, man, how you doing? If I remember correctly, you rated us last time. Maybe when we were in a novel section. So we got the novel section. Oh boy. Alright, Meep, have a good one. Thanks for hanging out, Meep. Sorry the game was boring for you. This looks very familiar. Yeah, it's really bad. What's there, Angelo? Hey, welcome back. Unknown for our good timing, but known for our well something. That, you know, is that par for the course when it comes to raid. This looks familiar. Yeah. Hopefully, I'm hoping this is the final budget cut section of the game. I've been reading for the last, like, hour. Ugh. But, how was Bloodstained? We're currently learning the past about Kaine. And believe it or not, this game actually has more than this text. Intro. In Ruashua, I play variety games like text and Metal Wolf Chaos on Saturday. Excited for that. Pictures are wonderful things. Continued to the shopkeeper. They let the ones closest to you live on forever. He shook his head slightly, then looked down at Kaine and smiled. In here, the medicine, he reached into his sizable green apron and produced a handful of old wax crayons. Yes, I say crayons. How many of you say crayons? I say crayons. Crayons. You fall asleep to the soundtrack and my voice? Wow. Thank you. I didn't think my voice was good. I hear it and it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. Until I scream Gajalaka noises, then that'll wake you up. But yeah, the soundtrack of this game. Very good. One of my favorite soundtracks ever. You should have these. There's no one left that I wish to draw. Crayons. He was drawing with crayons. Kind of took an instinctive step back, causing the shopkeeper's face to darken. Yes, I've heard the rumors about you, he said. It's a small village and word travels quickly. Between you and me, I'm not sure which of them to believe. But I also don't think they matter much. He's a good guy. This guy's a good guy. Beat this game? I didn't do all the endings, loved it. What ending did you get to? Also, welcome back. Rust? Yeah, Sean, that was the Bloodstain? Still good? Are you getting... How long is that game? I kind of want to play it someday. That's a tough one. If I like have room for it at some point, I might play it. Crayons for you. Low and smooth. Your voice. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't think it was good. It also depends on what I'm doing. If I'm playing Rocket League, I'm shrieking like an animal. Going to lurk as you drive. Oh, okay, good. But it's all text anyway. Maybe 2 of them. Rusted. Just do it. You're very slow. You're about 10 hours in. You know, that's fine. I know somebody who's probably slower. Yeah, the Rocket League shrieking. Yeah. I'm yelling like a madman. God, that reminds me. The season's gonna be up soon. And I gotta get my champ rewards. I'm like 3 wins away. God dang it. Yeah, drive safe. Rusted. Where was I? I knew your grandmother, Kali. That's what Kali, sure. And I think the way she was driven out of this town is just deplorable. Emma's name is Kali? Thought Kaine suddenly. I'm all out of flow now. She was still mulling this new fact over her mind as she reached out and gently took the crayons from the apothecary's hands. Your grandmother is an old friend of mine, he said as Kaine scooted away yet again, and I owe her much. I'm willing to wager that she would like it if you drew a picture of her. Yes, I think she would like that very much. Kaine murmured a quiet agreement, but inside her heart was bursting. Never before had a villager treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible step. But it was a step nonetheless, and with enough tiny steps, you might one day discover the rest of the world. When Kaine returned home, she found her grandmother asleep in her bed. Her feet were blackened and raw, even bleeding a bit in places, leading Kaine to think that she had been pacing around the room until exhaustion finally caught up with her. Jesus. She placed the medicine by her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hand clasped around her arm. Back already, are you? Asked the grandmother with a yawn. Come here, let me have a look at you. Grandmother sat up and examined Kaine from head to toe, finally satisfied that nothing terrible had befallen her grandchild. Kneeling back and allowed herself to relax. Well, how was it? Did those bastards give you any trouble? It was kind of fun, said Kaine with a small smile. No, seriously, it was. It was fun, was it? Asked her grandmother in a voice which implied she believed anything but. Uh-huh. So anytime you need me to run an errand, just let me know. As she spoke, Kaine removed the crayons from her pocket. After a brief explanation of their source, she informed her grandmother that she was going to sketch her portrait. A portrait of me? Ridiculous. No one wants to stare at a wrinkled old crone. Well, Grandma, it'll make you live forever. Horse manure, said her grandmother, throwing back the sheet from her bed. Living forever would just piss me off. Now put those crayons away and help with dinner. Akane would not relent, and in the end, Grandma found herself leaning against the wall of their house as if posing for a master artist. And this part of the story is kind of cute. I like it. And I took up the crayons and eyed her subject carefully. Just as her grandmother was about to nod off, and I finished the work. After staring at it for a bit, she realized it from her grip and let it slowly released it from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. Shit, was that the like child's painting or drawing thing that was in Kaine's hut? Probably was. It's terrible. It doesn't look like you at all. Sorry, Grandma. I thought these crayons would, make drawing easy or something. The old woman's eyes narrowed at her granddaughter's disappointment. Let me be the judge of that, she said, ignoring the pain on her back and reaching for the paper. The sketch could have been a person's face. It also could have been a boulder, a lump of clay, an incredibly misshapen loaf of bread, all rendered in a chaotic array of colors. The old woman stared at the picture for a long time, then slowly wheezed out a laugh. Oh, Kaine, said between laughter, you truly are my blood. You're as clumsy as me, and I love it. But, hush, I won't hear any more bull about how ugly you think it is. Came from the heart, and I'll treasure it always. Put it up on my fridge. That doesn't exist. True to her word, the old woman gave the picture of a place of honor above the kitchen table. Actually, they could have a fridge, but obviously they wouldn't know what it was and it wouldn't work. In the days that followed, Kaine would often catch her staring at a portrait with a strange smile on her face, an action she interpreted as silent, mocking laughter. A week later, Kaine could stand it no more and asked her grandmother to take the artwork down. Posh! Said the old woman. I'll take this down when they roll me in my shroud. He pondered this for a bit, then turned to Kaine and dropped to one knee. Listen to me, girl. Seeing this picture makes me happy in a way I've never felt before. Makes me want to go on, that someday you can feel the same happiness. Incredibly misshapen loaf of bread. Common description. Nice. I feel like that. That's why I started back on the elliptical today. No, I don't want to be a misshapen loaf of bread. And I felt like it afterwards. It was a moment that burned itself into Kaine's memory, a perfect blend of pride and love and joy that came together to form a lifelong remembrance. She swore to never forget this moment, to never forget the old woman who had made her place in the world possible. Time moves on. People and memories come in and out of a life like ghosts passing through the hall. But this moment will be different, Kaine swore. Because I will remember it forever. Forever. More text. God dang it. Oh. It's officially been an hour. He thought it would be over, Rip. No, there's some stuff that's gonna happen. Definitely lightened up on soda for once. Oh, you're an outside run. I can't do outside running. I don't like it. Outside's boring to me. I need to be watching Twitch or something. But that's good. Yeah, soda. You need to lighten up on this. I've got Coke Zero. I'm on a low carb diet. That kind of helps. Kindly listened to the sound of crackling firewood and stared at the black object on her plate. She'd been pushing it around the wooden disc for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the bemused stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned her courage and gave the object a brief sniff. A sharp, bitter scent flew up her nostrils and made its home there, causing her face to twist with disgust. Grandma, I can't believe you want me to eat a bug. The old woman threw more wood under the cooking pot and snorted. It's no bug, you fool. It's a berry. Berry. Love podcasts when you read, oh, okay, yeah. Break your brain and make you nauseous. That's interesting, nauseous. From like a motion sickness kind of thing? Kind of seems like you're moving, but you're actually not moving. Kind of interesting. Yeah, well, it sure looks like a bug. I think it's burnt or something because it smells terrible. That kind of held her nose and threw the berry in her mouth, doing as little as possible. Yeah, that's terrible, all right. Why, you little brat? Laughed the woman. Look at the sass on you. You've been spending too much time with me, and that's a fact. 5 years had passed since the moment when Kaine's grandmother saved her from the bullies. Or in the future. As is often the way with two stubborn people, their relationship had grown fits and starts. Move forward all the same. Meals that used to be somber affairs were now filled with laughter and hurled abuse in equal measure. It's super bad. Elliptical seem to bother you less so. That's interesting. I've never heard of like reverse motion sickness. You know what I mean? Usually it's the visuals are moving and you're not. But not the opposite. Kaine could not remember a time when she had been happier. As the years went by, Kaine started to shoulder more and more of the daily responsibilities. Her grandmother's legs grew weaker by the day. She could no longer do many of the chores she used to take for granted. And so this morning found Kaine lacing up her work boots with a breakfast of burned berry rolling through her belly. Vertigo. Is that vertigo? The nauseous part. Maybe. I get like vertigo. Is vertigo have to be nausea? Because if I ever go hiking, which I don't, if I ever like look over the edge, I get really dizzy and almost fall over. Really. Yeah, I thought, I mean, it could be a height thing, but it could be other stuff. I don't know. That's why I'm scared of heights, though, because I get really dizzy when I look down and I almost fall over, and so I think I'm gonna easily just fall. I don't know why I get dizzy. Guess that's vertigo. Where you going today? Asked Grandma suddenly. And I looked up surprised. The old woman rarely asked for specifics anymore. Well, I was gonna check out the kelma trees and see if they were ripe. I thought we could make some jam or something. Oh, and I'm gonna pick up some flagstones, so I need to take the wheelbarrow. Flagstones? What the hell for? Kaine stared at her grandmother, then held out an arm and swept it around the room. Home. Constructed mostly of cloth, rope, and rubble, the old place sagged like a boxer in the final round. I was thinking of like old boxers right as I read. Grows a loss of internal balance. Huh. Interesting. But it probably, is very common at heights. Grandma, a dying cat could chew through this home. I'm going to build a stone wall so we have protection. The old woman laughed, exposing her toothless grin to the world. God damn, girl. If a bunch of thieves want to ransack this old place, let them come. You got nothing worth stealing anyway. I'm not worried about thieves, I'm worried about shades. saw one to the west of the village yesterday. The old woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. Well, shoot. I don't know why you have to do it today. We can worry about it some other. Grandma, no. If I don't go to the kelma trees, we won't eat tonight. You know that. Confused expression passed across the old woman's face. For a moment, she was a small child lost at a carnival. Yes, said after a bit. Yes, of course you're right. I'm sorry, Kaine. Lately, it seems my mind is... She didn't finish the thought, instead walking over to her nightstand and gently taking a wreath of lunar tears from the drawer. Flower petals had aged to a brilliant whiteness, and Kaine thought it was more beautiful now than the day she'd received it. God damn, those last forever. Those lunar tears. Got that 5 years ago. You're gonna be a true woman soon, Kaine said as she placed the flowers on the girl's hair. That means less chatter about shades and building defense walls, and more talk about how beautiful you've become. Annoyed, Kaine reached up to remove the garland, but the look on her grandmother's face stopped her hand. You're a beautiful thing, said the old woman, and there ain't another like you in all the world. I'm very proud of you. And you're hot for days. Okay, Grandma. That's enough goddamn compliments for one day. Such a mouth on you. Where did that come from? Yeah, a lot of text. I think this is nice. This is a nice story, but I like more gameplay. I like tech. I like voice. You know, reading's just such a pain. Gee, I wonder. I'll teach you to sass me, girl, yelled Grandma. Suddenly she lurched forward and grabbed Kaine by the ears, pulling her around the room with a crazed grin on her face. Grandma! Yelled Kaine in a quaking voice. Grandma, stop it! What the hell? The old woman stared at her and blinked, then slowly held her wrinkled hands out as if it was the first time she had ever seen them. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, girl. Sometimes my mind just... And I thought the look on her grandma's face was the most heartbreaking thing she had ever seen. Listen, she began, maybe I should stay home after all. No, I won't have you stay here and keep an eye on an old codger like me. Knowing trivial shit, suffocating. Odd source. Yeah, I kind of get lots of like random facts too. I just like can memorize random facts really easily, so if I ever come across them, I typically remember them. Yeah, this is depressing. It's like nice but also depressing. It's also, I guess, compared to Kaine, because Kaine's like her current self in the game is like really depressing. It's nice to know that she had a nice background, you know, a nice friendly, kind background, besides the kids that bullied her and said that she should die just because she's a hermaphrodite. You go get your fruit and wall and whatnot, I'll be fine. When you come back, I'll have a nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you. Anna rolled her eyes, then kissed her grandmother on the forehead and made ready to depart, trying desperately to ignore the worry that's gnawing on the walls of her heart. Anna could feel the old woman's eyes watching her as she moved down the path. Don't turn around, she told herself. In the end, the temptation was too great. She spun on her heel and finally took, for one final look, saw a small bent woman standing in the front of a ramshackle hut with a sad expression on her face. God, she looks so old now. Like the wind could reach down and carry her away. Kaine worried about her grandmother all day, causing her work to suffer. What little fruit she could collect was tossed carelessly in the wheelbarrow. She only found a couple stones before losing interest in the project. Finally, as dusk approached, she decided to call it a day. Cursing herself with the lack of focus, Kaine pushed the nearly empty wheelbarrow back down the path. As she crested the final hill, she suddenly froze in place. The wheelbarrow fell from her fingers and collapsed on the side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruit rolling back down the hill. Her gaze was transfixed by a thick black cloud that hovered just ahead. Tracing its path with a finger, Kaine suddenly felt her stomach knot in on itself. You learn something new, but you don't know how to bring it up in conversation. I don't know, that really depends on the fact. If it's like super interesting, I might want to bring it up in conversation, but usually I just internalize it. Then one day someone says a word or something, and it just snaps me to and go, did you know? Get Ben alone. He drove all the way home during this, gonna make food. Alright, well, welcome home. I've been reading for an hour and 15 minutes. Oh gods, no. Her grandmother's house was ablaze, the flames licking up as if trying to touch the sky itself. Didn't get better. Or it did not get better. Grandma! Kaine ran then, faster than she had ever moved in her life. Once she tripped on a stone and went sprawling onto the rocky ground. But she leapt to her feet and continued running, unmindful of the blood that spilled from her wounded hands and knees. Audiobook stream, yeah. Oh boy. This is the longest one, too. Like the last two weren't even this long. As she got closer and closer, Kaine's mind began to race in time with her footfalls. It's too dark. It's too dark. Not just fire. Can't be fire. Too much smoke. The amount of people you awkwardly talk to about yo-yos. You were learning the hobby. Oh yeah. It was like that with Rubik's Cubes for me, and I do the same thing with Gundams. Gundams. And I talk to people at work about it, and they probably hate it. Oh, is the Banner Saga like this? Oh god. Yeah, you could stream yourself reading a book, probably, if I had to guess. Gotta save her, gotta save her! She burst into the front yard and came to a sudden halt. Her worst suspicions confirmed. The smoke from the fire was mingling with the thick, inky blackness of an enormous shade. The massive creature supported itself on 3 twisted feet and achieved balance through the means of a large, armored tail. Scales, horns, and claws sprouting from its body in a random, chaotic pattern, giving it the appearance of a lizard designed by some insane god. Seeing Kaine, it let out a roar and flicked its tail, sending a small whirlwinds spinning around the yard. For a moment, the creature retreated into a shimmering, inky blackness, as if her mind was unable to comprehend that such a thing could actually exist. But then the smell hit her, a blend of rotten meat and excrement, and the horror became real once more. Who wrote the book? Is the copyright not yours? Nope. Oh, you have to have permission from the author. Interesting. It kind of makes sense. It's the same thing with, like, music and stuff. Oof. The creature bellowed again, and this time Kaine responded with a scream of her own. "All right, you bastard," she thought, as her scream echoed off the high cliffs around them. "It's you or me, let's go!" The shade eyed Kaine with bemused interest, and began looking from her to the house and back again, as if urging her to look at the destruction it had gleefully wrought. The dread building in her heart, Kaine glanced towards the house. Through the smoke and flame, she spotted a small figure struggling to escape the ruins. "Grandma!" At the sound of her voice, the old woman began waving frantically. "She's alive!" thought Kaine. "She's alive!" Kaine's legs sprang to life as she raced across the yard towards the flaming wreckage of the house. Before she could advance more than a few steps, the shade opened its mouth and let out a roar powerful enough to uproot trees and send them flying. The blast sent Kaine tumbling through the air before smashing her against the rocky earth. Stars danced in front of her eyes as she tried to remember how her legs worked. Get up, get up! Get up, get up, get up, get up, now! As Kaine struggled to her feet, the shade stomped towards the house and pinned her grandma to the ground with the tip of a claw. The old woman struggled to move the claw from her stomach, but she might as well have been pushing a mountain. She coughed briefly, sending a small spray of blood into the air, and collapsed to the ground, her energy spent. Kaine lurched to her feet only to fall back to earth. With a gasp, her ankles were on fire. One or both of them were surely broken. Ignoring the pain, she screamed through her body. That screamed through her body, cutting it. She began dragging herself across the ground, leaving a drunken trail of dust and blood in her wake. "Grandma, hold on. Just a little longer." Her grandmother's face was turning blue, her eyes rolling back until only the whites were exposed. It's getting gruesome. Interesting, Rusted. Interesting. Interesting. That's an interesting concept for a story. Kaine pulled herself across the ground with maddening slowness. The distance seemed to increase with every second that passed. The shade glanced between the two women and flicked its tongue out, his giant mouth turning up at the corners. Short, panting breaths belched from somewhere deep inside its core. Bastard, laughing at us. She had no idea how such a mindless creature could experience emotion, but there could be no doubt that Shade was taking joy in their suffering. Now, mind you, Shades are former humans that got fucked up. Yeah, I see your plan. The Shade moved his claw slightly, allowing Grandma to breathe again. It was clearly keeping her alive, only to snuff out her life when Kaine was close enough to touch her. "I'm gonna kill this bastard." Summoning all of her strength, Kaine rose to her feet. There was a sickening snap from her right ankle as the foot twisted backwards. She forced it from her mind and began to hobble towards the monster. Links are allowed here. Pulling a small knife from the pouch at her waist, she leapt on the foot that pinned her grandmother and plunged the weapon deep. "Give her back!" she screamed. "Give her back to me!" It was like stabbing a rock. After a few swipes, the knife broke at the hilt with a dull snap. The Shade panted laughter again, then raised its tail and sent it rushing through the air towards the young girl that was lashed to its foot. Kaine never had a chance. The tail struck her square in the chest and sent her crashing into the burning wreckage of the home. As she lay on the ground with blood pouring from multiple wounds, a small, weak voice spoke up. "Kaine." Kaine's vision blurred. She forced herself to focus on the sound. Finally, her eyes cleared enough for her to make out her grandmother's hand reaching out to her through the smoke. "Grandma? Kaine, you've got to run. Can't defeat him." Kaine grabbed the hands and held on with all of her strength. "Grandma, come on, we have to go." The old woman coughed loudly. One of her hands, slick with blood, slipped from Kaine's grasp and thumped to the ground below. Oof. Oh, that's fine. That's fine, Rusted. Enjoy your burp. "Grandma, no, no!" I said run, goddammit. You have to live. You have to get through. But the thought would stay forever unfinished. Before she could say another word, the shade's claw foot descended, smashing through the remains of the roof and down upon the shattered figure of the old woman. Blood oozed thickly from gaps in the creature's toes as the terrible putrid smell assaulted Kaine's nose once again. She stared at the foot, dumbfounded, convinced that what she was seeing could not possibly be real. Oh, sad. It's a sad story. When the creature finally lifted its appendage, all that remained underneath was a twisted, unrecognizable mass of rubble and red. Her grandmother was gone, and I blinked, trying to feel her hands, which had been in hers just a moment before. For a fleeting instant, she could remember the warmth of the embrace, the trembling of the fingers, and then the sensation drifted away on the breeze and was gone. Memories flashed through Kaine's mind, one after the other, faster and faster, until they became a meaningless jangle of noise. Kaine screamed then, a thunderous sound that echoed off the cliffs and seemed to roll away forever. The shade eased forward, black ichor? I don't know that word. Ichor? Ichor? We need to hydrate still. Its appendage. What? What? Pouring from its mouth and dissolving into smoke on the ground below. Earth shook with every step as it crept towards its prey. And his body slowly rose as if controlled by a mad puppet master. Her arms and legs were bent at impossible angles, her head lolled dangerously to one side. Lol. Yet somehow, she managed to stand. Staring at the shade, her eyes began to glow with a deep red fire. The creature, so confident just moments before, took a slow, hesitant step backwards, trying to discern if this broken human could possibly pose a threat. Kaine seized the moment, laughing like a madwoman. She leapt into the air and plunged the shattered hilt of her knife deep into the leg of the shade. Ichor is blood of the gods. Is it pronounced Ichor? Seems like Ichor. Not Ichor. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that sucks. Rusted that you didn't break even on the art to commission it. Kind of a neat thing to still have, but yeah, that sucks. Ichor. Oh, alright. Thank you. Like a goo that often associated poison or magic. Oh, okay. Like a ethereal mystery goo. The shade shook Kaine off like a fly, sending her crashing to the earth once again. Her chest rose and fell slowly, as if a great weight were resting on it. Moist sounds of pain echoed through her mind. Something warm and thick oozed from her ears. That blood? I think it is. Think I'm bleeding to death. No, can't die. Grandma told me to live. Deep inside Kaine's mind, something finally broke. The sound, the pain, the smoke and flames, all of it faded away until all that remained was a single incantation repeated over and over again. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Kill it a whole bunch. Kill it now! As the spark that was Kaine slowly began to flicker and die, she felt her desire to kill and her desire to live blend into one. The distance between heartbeats grew longer and longer and longer. Did you know this game has visuals? Are we... We made it out!
The beast approaches.
Oh, I got it.
Petrichor. Ah! Petrichor. That's how you pronounce it then. Interesting. I didn't know that was the word. I know Petrichor. Or Petrichor? Petrichor, I'm gonna say. I always thought that was an awesome word. What spells do I have?
What a creature must have. How did it even survive these past 5 years?
I'm not gonna let this happen again. He dies today. My sword feels lighter.
Oh, you're...
It's not the blade, but the skill.
It's on the other side.
Strike him down.
Owie. Your tentacle's in the wall, that's cheating! Like that! We gotta get him. Yeah, the big fist. This is a video game. I tricked you all. Also, knowing that's where that story ended, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be more novel. This game was actually not made by Platinum. But it makes sense. Yep, there it is. We're back! Nier Automata was made by Platinum. But you know why that... You now know why that Platinum was hired for the next game. Because it kind of screams Platinum when you look at it. A little jank. Gently. Weekly. Softly. Monthly. The shade sure that the tormentor was dead. Turned and stomped off towards the horizon, stomping along the way below to bellow one final roar. Need more liquid. I gotta read more. It's like the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, but instead of entire cutscenes, which is so much easier for me. But instead it's all text. Because they don't have budget. Yeah, this game was made by Cavia, which turned into, I think, AQ or QA Studios or something like that, which then turned into Marvelous. You know who Marvelous is. They made some good games. I forget the ones, but the game that's coming out soon is Daemon X Machina. Yeah. Bayo 3, yeah, I can't wait. I love platinum games. Couldn't kill it. So sorry, Grandma. Couldn't avenge you. Came beyond imagining. Kaine tried to turn her head to the side. Only succeeded in coughing up a huge gout of blood. It was getting difficult to see, and only after a moment of fierce concentration did she realize that her left eye was gone. Laughing to herself, she turned her remaining eye to the ruins of her home and noticed a raging stump of arm resting a few feet away. Yep, that's mine, she thought with a mad giggle. This is gonna make clapping a real bitch. Fucking, what a thing to say. Again, lack of seeing the game yet, realize it wasn't. Yeah, this is the first Nier. This is before Automata. A lot of people don't even realize there's a game before Automata, so I don't blame you. Ah, cried a sudden voice from the depths of her mind. Finally gonna die, are you? Well, you had it coming. Oh, I guess that was Demo voice. Go to hell, Demo, she thought as at the unseen assailant. Go to hell before I pluck out your eyes and feed them to a dog. No, I guess it might not be Demo. The voice of her childhood terror evaporated into smoke, only to be replaced by another, more recent voice. Hold still. Wait, it's the apothecary. Hold still. The apothecary, materializing from the ruins like a ghost. I want to draw you. That way you can live forever. No, stop. Don't want to live forever. I want to die right here. I see, he said quietly. Well, if that's how you want it. The spectral shopkeeper fluttered in and out of existence for a moment, then produced a piece of paper and sketched quickly. After a few seconds, he turned the page to Kaine and smiled. Since you rejected my offer, I decided to draw someone else. It was a picture of her grandmother, real as life. Kaine opened her mouth and thanked the man, but stopped as the picture began to blacken in the middle. Before she could say anything, thousands of multi-legged insects began to swarm across the image, tearing at it with sharpened pincers. That's rough. Marvelous made God Eater 3? Really? I don't remember seeing that at the front of the game, but I always ignore that part. You watched some of Automata? Didn't it interest you? Oh, I love Automata. That's one of my favorite games ever. Got a really good story. I highly recommend it if you like stories. Bam. To be. Huh, interesting. It probably says it at the beginning too, and I just didn't notice. Stop! No, don't hurt that picture. And he reached out with the remaining arm and waved futilely. Futilely. I don't know how to say that word. Bad. Oh no. To her surprise, the insects fell off the picture to the ground below, where they vanished to tiny black tendrils of smoke. Yeah, futilely is right. Just the E in the middle makes me want to say futilely. It makes me want to break up the two L sounds, you know what I mean? Relieved, Kaine turned her good eye back to the picture, only to open her mouth in a silent scream. The sketch now showed her grandmother as she truly was, a smashed, unrecognizable lump of nothing. You didn't watch a ton of it, though. Yeah, fair enough. It's got a really good, like, maybe if the gameplay doesn't interest you, I'd recommend, like, I don't know, watching a full playthrough of it or something. It's a lot of commitment, though. I know. The apothecary smiled, then broke into a jolly dance. See that? He cried as he danced his jig. Perfect now. He looks just like you. Ha cha cha cha. Happening. I look like that. Oh god, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Grinding in despair, Kaine laid her head back in the mud and smoke of her ruined house and waited for the end to come. Hi, Rustin. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, man. Nice to talk with you. Nice to learn some stuff. Learn about Alaska and all that stuff. Hope you have a good noodle. But just before she let everything go, an unfamiliar voice began whispering in the air, in her ear. Ain't you got a wish, sunshine? The voice was vulgar and fierce at the same time, as if insanity had somehow found a way to take form, and he wanted to scream as the voice crawled under her skin. Crawl me in my skin. But her lungs refuse to work. Seemed like that phrase would work. Screaming would take a long time. Yeah, that's for sure. It took me... I 100%ed it like a few months ago. Took me 60 hours, maybe? But I also knew what I was doing, too. So... know a wish? Like a prayer or something? Why don't you get on your knees and start praying to heaven? Please, invisible man in the sky, save me, save me! And I finally resorted to shouting at the voice with her mind. Don't make wishes, they don't come true for me. I'm a curse, a freak. We left to die. The other voice boomed in her ears. Oh god, you are the best. And I glanced down and saw a black, shiny substance oozing from her legs. She tried to brush it away, but her remaining arm would no longer respond. 60 hours is a lot. Yeah, it's a bit much. I streamed Octopath Traveler, and that was 120. That was tough. The DC Universe Online? That is? I don't know what that is. Wait, what consumed the part of your secondary free time, Barry? The substance slowly crept up her feet and then began moving toward the rest of her body. Death? Is this what it's like? Or is this my mind just losing itself? You feel slime oozing upwards. Feel the hot, searing pain it left in its wake. Whatever else might be happening, she was still alive and this was real. Come on, let it go. Kaine tried to ignore the voice and concentrate on the pain, but the newcomer would have none of it. Don't ignore me, sunshine. You're ready to give up, ready to die. Why not let me have it? Have what? Your body. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. I want to stand on the ground, feel the rain, taste the wind. The voice paused as if licking its lips. When it resumed, it was filled with mad, unabated joy. And I want to take your hands and use them to choke the goddamn life out of people. I want to tear out their throats and bathe in the blood, just like before. In response, Kaine shifted her head and vomited. The warmth of it crept down her front and mingled with the pain of the encroaching black ooze. Are you a shade? Gah. Yeah, maybe. What of it? The slime reached her face, crept up past her nose, and slowly oozed into the socket of her missing eye. The moment it touched her brain, Kaine was struck by the most powerful sensation she'd ever felt in her life. It was ecstasy. She wanted to scream with delight, but all she could manage was a small, whispered moan. First online. Oh, okay. Wait. They re-released that on the Switch? I know they came out with like a game on the Switch, like a Marvel game. Came out with some game. And I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know superhero stuff very well, unfortunately. Feels good, don't it? Asked the voice with a chuckle. Yeah, what can I say? I know how to please the ladies. That was coming from me as well. That line. Now give me that body. Come on, give me that body and I'll give you more of this feeling. It's a fair trade. I also tell ladies that too. They've been releasing it in every console possible. Like the Skyrim of superhero games. A black lub began to protrude from Kaine's side as she watched it grow longer and thicker. Yeah. Eventually taking the form of her missing arm. I can see better, she thought. My eye must be growing back too. The slime reached up to envelop the rest of her face, but she managed to brush it away. Stop, she whispered, marveling at how she had regained her voice. Stop! Black ooze hesitated, as if considering this request, then quickly shimmered down her body before disappearing in a cloud of smoke. What the hell, Sunshine? Screamed the voice. We had a deal. I thought you wanted to die. Grandma said, I can't die yet. A brief image of her grandmother, bloodied and broken, flashed before her eyes. She saw the shade that had killed her and heard its mocking laughter, then closed her eyes and forced the image from her mind. Her whole body was quaking with rage. When she opened her eyes again, they burned bright red. Thing took my grandmother. I have to kill it before I die. And I glanced down and saw a mysterious pattern of the shades burn itself into her left arm. Yeah, this game is game's pretty nuts. Ooh, nice, Barry. Nice. Congrats. Whatever part of Mexico passed that law that you are in. Grudelions. You guys are progressing towards a better society. Well, I'll be damned, said the voice cheerfully. Look at that, Sunshine. I think you and me are gonna be good friends now. Aine stared intently at her arm. The more emotional she felt, the more the letters seemed ready to puncture her skin and began infecting the rest of her body. The arm clearly had a will of its own now. Stop. Gotta stop. Holding her left arm in her right, Kaine took a deep breath and tried to calm herself. Come on, don't fight it, pleaded the voice. Hate's my favorite dish and I'm hungry. Ooh, I'm hungry. Very well. Nice, Barry. Does Mexico have, like, states? Or, like counties? Or, like, counties in the states? How does Mexico work? While your state is going the opposite direction. Yeah. Yeah, I don't... Yeah. Luckily not here, but... Yeah, it's not good. Let it go. Feel the anger. Burn with the fire of revenge. Thirst for blood, then go out there and... Shut up, get the hell out of my body! Ah, your body. Ah, that's rich, Sunshine. Real rich. Look, why don't you just up and die so I can have this body all to myself? What do you say? I bet those buddies of yours in the area would love to see you dead. Anna grabbed a nearby shard of glass and tried to saw off the shade-infected portion of her side. Before she could, her darkened left arm grabbed her right wrist, crushing it. Anna screamed and dropped the shard as the sound of bone crushing on bone filled the air. God damn, so it just like broke her own wrist, basically, to cause herself pain so she wouldn't do it. Right, yep. Yeah, there's people, some places going bad directions here in the US, unfortunately. Hopefully that'll stop. We have 30 states and 1 city with weird stuff. Kind of like DC is here. Like DC's, I don't know how DC works here. Stupid idiot girl. You're possessed now, sunshine. There ain't no going back. The voice laughed again, a loud, long wail that seemed to go on without end. Possessed? Whispered Kaine. Yeah, possessed. You and me. We got what you might call a timeshare arrangement. Do they even know what timeshares are? That kind of like DC. Yeah, I don't really know how DC works. Is it Mexico City that's got the weird stuff? Remember how folks used to think you were a freak? We'll wait till they get a load of you now. Anna looked up, tears in her eyes. The sky seemed smaller somehow, darker. Demons are all about real estate, yeah. The demons are currently in our real estate business. That's why it's so goddamn expensive. Is this because of that shade? Is this how they see the world? So, listen. Heard the voice. I know this whole possession thing seems a bit sudden, but it ain't all bad. There's plenty in it for you, too. I'm a very powerful creature, Sunshine. Now that power belongs to you. You got enemies? People you want to kill? I can make it happen. That little fat kid you kept picking on you, that big old shade that squashed your granny, we'll wrap them up in their own assholes. No more abuse for you, Sunshine. No more pain. Wait, said Kaine. You're a shade. Why would you help me kill another shade? What, do you think I'm some kind of racist? Some killing snob? I don't give a good goddamn who you murder, honey pants. I just want to drink from the well. This low voice is very, very air consuming. And very scratchy on the throat. It's just a way more depressing Venom snarl. Kinda, yeah, actually. Yeah, she's got a shade inside of her, which is technically a former human, so she has basically a second person in her, but the human's like gone crazy, corrupt, and whatnot. Kinda considered this as she struggled to her feet, the power of the shade coursing through her. Smoke from her house was drifting away with the wind, and she enjoyed the way the cool evening breeze felt on her new left arm. After a long pause, the voice spoke up again. So, how about it? You and me? We could have some good times together. Look, I'll even take care of that bloody part if you don't want. Of the bloody part. Of that bloody part. Ooh. It's similar to a wraith. I don't know wraiths, but so humans long ago were dying as a species. So they were able to separate their souls from their bodies. And over time, the souls became corrupt and evil stuff. They were planning on merging the souls back with new clones of bodies. They're called replicants, and they were husks. But they never could figure out how, so it never happened. Kaine is a replicant. Pretty much all the humans left in the world are replicants now. The replicants gained a soul of their own. And yeah. Next is it's like all country delegations. God, that sounds like a mess. Fuck off, asshole, muttered Kaine. I'll handle the killing. Bah! Screamed the new voice. Look at you go. Oh, sunshine. We're gonna have so much fun. So listen, my name's Tyrion. And if you ever need me, I'll just be hanging out in this piece of meat you call a heart. Now get to it. The more you kill, the more your heart turns rotten and sour. And I like rotten and sour. And I found herself nodding at the voice. Yeah, she said. Yeah, I think this can work. I'm gonna find that shade. I'm gonna strangle it with its own guts. And when I'm done, I'm gonna do the same to you, Tyrion. Count on it. Ah, laughed Tyrion. I've shit bigger than you, so good luck with that. Oh, and hey, one more thing. Right now, you and me are sharing this body. But if you ever run out of hate, if you ever, go soft, then I'm gonna take over everything. So keep on killing, sunshine, and watch your back. The voice grew fainter and gradually faded away, fading into somewhere deep inside Kaine herself. Kaine waited until she was sure the voice was gone, then waved her new left arm around a few times. Speaking of arm, it feels perfectly normal, she thought. It feels like mine. Desperately, she began poking and prodding at the new limb, determined to find something wrong with it. She didn't want to feel normal. It would mean the creature inside her had already won. Not a shade, I'm Kaine. Repeating this mantra in her mind, Billy began digging through the rubble of her house, being careful to ignore a certain red-stained spot in the corner. Wraiths seem like they're essentially shades of black magic. Oh, okay, so they use like black magic to turn wraithy. I know the Stargate wraiths. They'll suck the life right out of you. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of heartbreaking work, she found what she was looking for. It was the wreath of lunar tears. Though it had been through hell and back, the garland's petals were as bright as ever. All shades are sold. They learned. No. Yeah, I mean when you're in the magic realm, you'll learn some weird shit. I think potentially. Okay, I know for sure that there are shades that haven't gone crazy. For example, what we also learned at the end of Route A was Yona, Nier's daughter, had got put a shade inside of her. Or I should say a gestalt inside of her. And that gestalt's dad was the Shadow Lord. So the Shadow Lord kidnapped Nier's daughter to put a gestalt inside of her. There you go. There's that. So, and that... Oh yeah, and at the end, the gestalt inside of Yona left willingly out of Yona because she felt kind of bad because Nier wanted his daughter back. Yeah, it was a nice gestalt. Kind of started to place it in her hair, then slowly lowered the wreath and stared at it. Sorry, Grandma. I'm so sorry. There are also no cold around. I'd probably like that. I like the cold. Extreme cold, maybe not so much, but you know, you got jackets. Speaking of which, it's way too hot in my room right now. I'm just gonna turn my AC down. So sorry, but I don't deserve to wear this anymore. I'm possessed, corrupted, a freak. But this time, I don't think there's any going back. Holding the flowers to her heart, Kaine fell to the ground and sobbed. A night gradually lightened to dawn. The people of the area arose to their daily lives. She remained in that position, as if tears could somehow wash away the horror that now infected her world.
Alive. Stay alive. Stay alive.
Educated warrior, thank you.
Grandma. Kaine, you gotta live. You gotta come back to us.
You unlocked the achievement for reading a lot. If I remember right, that's the end of the gigantic text spews. 2 hours later. The same. Yeah, I live in Colorado, luckily, so I get the cold. Half the year. It's very nice.
Emil, you were the one calling me, huh?
I love that Kaine just knows it's Emil and just does not give a shit.
Recognize me?
Calls him
Yeah,
Emil.
sure. I knew you right away.
So nice to Emil.
Thank you. Kaine.
Good to see you, Kaine.
You look like shit.
You get sub 30 sometimes.
How long has it been?
5 years.
It's like that for probably a couple months here. Sometimes gets to like, probably like twice or 3 times a year gets to like the negative teens at some point. Not as a high, as a low.
Oh. That's a long time.
It felt like 5 years.
Any luck with Yona?
We are still no closer to finding her. We need a way to locate the Shadow Lord.
This is for you.
Lunar Tears. Did you make this?
It's just a little welcome back gift. It's not much, I know.
It's nothing like the one Grandma used to make, but... Oh, hell. Thanks.
Excuse me.
Popola, we did it. We freed Kaine.
That's great. Listen, can I talk to you for a minute?
Also, we get attacked a second time. You left Barry, I think, at some point during the night. I don't know if you saw the first part, but Popola, the devil will betray you and fuck you up, and then you kill one of them. The other one goes insane, goes crazy, and then blows up. And then Emil basically sacrifices himself so that Nier and Kaine don't get blown. Judged for... Yeah, they're just... Despite all the sadness and whatnot that this game has, they're very nice to each other. It's like, it's very pleasant.
This doesn't make sense.
Please, try to understand. People are tired and scared, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to bear the brunt of that.
And it also kind of sucks that now the villagers don't want Nier and them in the village, and Kaine probably feels all this shit again. People think they're freaks or some shit.
It's okay. We can sleep outside.
No one's sleeping outside. You and Kaine saved this village, and now they want to run you out?
People are afraid of us. And really, I understand. I mean, look at me. As long as you're still with us, I can deal with it. Right, Kaine?
I'm used to sleeping outside.
I'm sorry.
We'll see you later.
We're sorry.
Don't fade to another book. Not another book.
What is the matter?
Kaine always sleeps outside. I never thought about that until just now. How could I have not noticed that? How selfish am I? What the hell is wrong with me?
We should turn in.
I didn't get much sleep that night. I wanted to blame Devla for everything. This is Nier. Wanted to grab Popola and strangle her. But anger won't accomplish anything. They said and did what they did for the sake of the village. This isn't very long. For the sake of protecting it from the horrifying threat of the Shades. Ellipses. Damn it, Barry. The devil and Popola are to blame. And I'm equally at fault. For not stopping for a moment to think about Kaine and Emil. World Purification Commission Report 930-2032. First detachment of is functioning properly. However, continued. The only bad thing about installing the game is the load times are faster, so I can't read those. Oh, I forgot to read the thing from last time. I'm not going to do it on stream. Sleep well? Sure. Well, if you say so. I need to go see Devla and Popola. Very well. So how is this? How's Automata a sequel to this? Well, it's kind of a sequel to this. So, it's very loosely. Automata takes place 10,000 years after this game. So this takes place in the year like 30, 31, 50, 60 something like that. And Automata takes place in the year like 14,000 or some shit. So like the effects of this world and whatnot that has happened, you know, is carried over there, but it's not very connected, if that makes sense. There's Automata spoilers for people. I don't know if they're that big, but Emil's in that game, for example. Yeah, there's not much connecting the thread. The world around. Obviously, Kaine's dead. Emil's still alive, but he's a weird head skeleton man, so he's just kind of invincible. And then Devla and Popola are in the game. What else? The humans, these humans are dead. So, I don't know. The replicants, I mean, they're dead. Yeah, it's just loosely connected.
Hey,
There's some, like, hints at stuff, and there's, like, some backstory on stuff, but, you know. They made it a really good independent game. Like, you didn't have to have knowledge of this, but having knowledge of this game makes Automata much more satisfying, I think. Hi. Kinda thought you'd never talk to us again. This is bigger than you or Popola. About the whole damn village. I know, but regardless, you should talk to Popola. You think she wanted to discuss the Shadow Lord with you. I can do that. Oh, and also, yeah? Sorry about yesterday. I kind of flew off the handle. No, you didn't. Besides, it was our fault in the first place. Let Emil and Kaine know that we're sorry, alright? I'll do that. You think you're more interested in this than Nier Automata? Really? I think the stories are... I think Automata's slightly better. I think it has more going. But I think a lot of why I like Automata is because of this game. I don't know. It's hard to say which story I like better. I can tell you, structure-wise of the game, Automata's way better. Way better pacing, less like cut content, less text walls, more solid gameplay. Just better, the way that the story's structured is a lot better. But the actual story itself, pretty equivalent. Popola. Oh, hello. Look, I want to apologize for Stop. Don't you dare. You had every right to be upset. I understand why you did what you did, even if I don't agree. You like the character stuff here too? Huh, interesting. This is like a totally different setting. 1,000 years in the future from current day. Oh, and at the end of the game, we were on the top of a skyscraper, basically. This game's pretty crazy. And you start the game off in the year like 2045. As Nier and Yona. So there's some wacko shit. A little goofy. Yeah, I don't... one sec. I still feel terrible, just so you know. Ahem. I believe there was something you wished to discuss with us. Oh, right, yes, about that. You know about the Lost Shrine, right? The temple where I was first discovered? That's it. It seems that the Shadow Lord's lair is connected to it somehow. Oh, it was right under our pages the whole time. The entrance is sealed off and the bridge leads there. Take a boat. Boat? It's the trade waterways have been repaired. We've been using it a lot recently. With all the shades running about, it's safer than trying to cross the plains. There's a landing point near the path of the Lost Shrine's back entrance. I let the ferryman know about you. He'll take you to wherever you need to go without charge. That should make it easier for you to move from town to town. Thanks, Popola. I feel you've done so much for me. I can't believe I was such an ass to you earlier. I told you not to worry about it, so don't. Alright, I'll see you around. Yeah, and for the love of everything, be careful. Yeah, I don't know, this game... I wish I would have known about it when it came out. Because I feel it's like a underrated gem. Like, I would have loved this back when it was released, I think. But yeah, I didn't know about it till like 6 months before Automata came out, or like a year before Automata. No. Like right before Automata was announced, I think. I knew about this game and watched a playthrough of it. And then Automata was announced. It was awesome. I think? Or it was right after it was announced. Around that time. The path above the entrance to the shopping district should take me to the boat landing. Because it's got such an interesting story, an interesting structure. Like with the multiple playthroughs. Like this is the second time we're playing this part. I've done all this already. Once before. But the whole novel part wasn't in there. So they like reveal more story as you like go along. Interesting. So your quests get reset. And yeah, the writing's really good, but the gameplay's kind of jank, but it kind of gives it a little bit of a charm. Oh. Water wheel's dead. Sure, I'll accept your quest that I don't need to do.
Well, I'm counting on you.
Oh, it's you, eh? You're struck with that aspect. With which aspect? It's just like the good story.
Sup?
And like how wacko it is, and like the structure of it. Yeah, like the structure of it too in Nier's, like Nier Automata, is a lot better. Obviously, they had the budget, but they also just made the extra routes have more to it, different gameplay and whatnot. This one, it's literally the same exact game through all the replays. You don't switch characters, unfortunately. Man, it would have been cool to play as Kaine or Emil.
The lost shrine is at the other end of this cave.
And the Shadow Lord's castle lies just beyond.
Let us make haste.
But this game's extra routes start at part 2 of the game, while Automata's first route is kind of doubled, but plays a different character with different perspective. Oh yeah, and here's what you get in Route B in this game. Is extra little shit like they do in Automata. Hansel. Who are you? Go away, dirty defective swine. So the shades are defective compared to Mr. Armor Man. Mr. Gurren Lagann suit. I'm not like you, I'm different. My throat is going to be absolutely destroyed tomorrow. I don't think I've ever read so much in my life and talked so much on a stream before. Kind of playthrough would have been better for the last characters. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think so too. That got call me Mr. Gurren Lagann. And my brother Hansel. The switching at the end of Automata, when you're just constantly switching between the characters, both fighting bosses in different like gameplay styles, is such a good part of the game. Like that is so good, and it switches faster and faster as you go along. Oh my god, such a good part. If you're not over leveled, it's even better. Because it seems like you're just switching really fast if you're over-leveled. But holy shit. Great presentation in that game. And them finally meeting up at the end and whatnot. Ugh. You again, stop bothering me. Grimar Weiss has been taken away. Hansel is dead. There's no reason for me to exist anymore. My life is over. Just leave me alone. You. They're having a good time in there. What's kind of nice, so even though you do play through the same parts over and over again in this, luckily all the enemies remain the same level. So at least the playthroughs are faster on this one. In Nier Automata, they have changed up gameplay and a lot more different things in each playthrough, or in each route, I should say. So, like, you don't need it to be faster. This one kind of needs to be faster. Also, Route C in this game there's nothing different until the very end. So, that's kind of shitty. Route C in freaking Nier Automata was so good when it starts. I'm glad that Captain K had the same reaction as me and the other people I've watched play Automata, where when you get that title card and you're like right as it says developed by Platinum Games, you're like, what? You guys are insane. It's so good. And then they drop the title card. Oh. Dude, when I first saw that, dude, I was freaking out.
This is all too easy.
I'm almost disappointed.
Like that. Yo, what you shooting at, buddy? Also, Gurren Lagann is a really good series. If people haven't seen it, go watch it, please. If you like shonen kind of animes with over-the-top kind of action. I watched it for the first time like a few months ago, and very, very happy with it. Yeah, what have I been playing for the last 10 hours as the title card drop? Yep. That's why I kept telling Captain K, I'm like, you're still playing the tutorial, dude. Yeah, Barry, when I think I told you this, but when Captain I messaged, or I did the Twitter thing to Captain where he said that he was still freaking out. And I told him, yeah, that was the tutorial. Yeah, we messaged each other for like an hour or two after that. He was just going on and on about it, asking questions. It was great. It was a good time. A good bonding experience. Trying to pitch. Besting Lantern Game. I don't know any people at WP. You like Green Lantern? He's my favorite DC man. He's my favorite power-wise. I don't care about the people who play them. I think the people who play Green Lantern... Okay, I haven't read the comics, but the people typically that play Green Lantern are idiots. They don't use the ring power. They just don't have imagination. It'd be such a wacko weapon. You do so much with it. yeah, it could be OP and stuff like that, but you know, you do some crazy wacko stuff, and they're just like, I'm gonna make a brick wall. On, man, like you could like create a tiger that's got swords for arms. Something. Turn back, says
Who
the
are these
shade.
guys?
Certainly not your garden variety shades.
Their bodies aren't fully functional.
I've heard of this. A cursed area where incomplete shades gather.
We also get extra dialogue. With like while in the game of the shades, because Kaine, having a shade inside of her, can actually understand all the shades and has been able to understand all the shades the entire game. So there are parts where you don't actually notice while you're playing through, except for one is kind of obvious, where Kaine is actually reacting to what the shades are saying, while rather than having just like a normal conversation. Lancers are awesome. Alice nails the character. Oh yeah, Platinum would be freaking great, dude. It'd be like the Wonderful 101, but like crazier. I don't know where that fist went. I think it's fun, or it's interesting that my favorite superhero from each universe, granted I don't know much about each universe, I'm not a big superhero guy, but I like Iron Man and I like Green Lantern. And there's an amalgam universe that combined the two. There's the Iron Lantern. He's got the brain of Tony Stark with the powers of the Green Lantern. That's OP. And I love it. So technically, the Iron Lantern is my favorite superhero of all time, just out of your concept. I don't know anything about him. Nightclaw, is that the Wolverine? I forget, is it Wolverine and Batman or some shit? I forget what that is. There's a run of a guy called Kyle Rayner. Light construct. His light constructs wacky. Real cool stuff. That sounds interesting. That sounds really good for a lantern. Yes, yeah, okay. Yeah, I looked up a lot of them. A lot of the like, or maybe all the amalgam dudes, just to see how cool they were. And I saw that literally my favorite from each side was fused into one being, and I was like, that's awesome. That's great. And I like Iron Man because I like mech shit. So that's the main reason why I like Iron Man. Tony Stark's, he's alright. I mainly like superhero stuff for their powers, more than the characters. Because I just want to see some people fight with powers. My god, Kaine. I'll punch him for you. Oh, they're dead. Capsules. Capsule. Murdered them. Whoop. Turn around and give him a blop. This man missed. Kaine, you're so good. I'll salve you. Yeah, give me that. Yeah, fill me up. Whoop. Oh. God, my fists are so strong. I know there was like, I think there was a Superman Captain America mix, and I thought, oh, boring. I personally do not like Superman. I think he is the most boring superhero. I mean, he is generic superhero man. And he's supposed to be. But because I only like powers, he is quite low on my list for likability. That's kind of like Batman. I've treated you all poorly. I mocked you, betrayed you, all because you went Gestalt before the change was complete. Interesting. They went Gestalt before the change was complete. What change? But after all this, I think I'm gonna understand you. I think we could speak as equals. Makes me very happy. Hope we can spend the rest of our What was that? When you play it too safe, it sucks. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the stuff isn't over the top enough for me.
Kaine, Emil, I want you to... I'm sorry, right?
Sorry for what?
I'm going to talk to the villagers. I want them to let you in.
Oh, it's no big deal. Right, Kaine?
I'm used to it.
Well, you shouldn't be. It's crap, and it needs to change.
I wish everyone felt the same way.
Emil.
It's all right, really. I like camping out with Kaine. It's kind of fun, in a weird way. Sometimes we sit around the fire and tell stories, or roast...
Emil, that's enough. I got a fucking image to maintain.
Batman, what I was gonna say about Batman is I don't like Batman's powers. Because I think they're like really shitty Iron Man. Right? He's got the Batarang that bores me, he's got the grapples, and he's just got the punch. But he's got a good character. I think his character's really... That kind of makes up for it. Like every lantern have their own... John Stewart. Gardner. I don't know Guy Gardner. What was the one lantern in the cartoon that was the black guy from like the early noughties? I liked him. In terms of like personality, I liked him. Again, I thought they all suck at making powers. I liked his personality a lot. I thought he was cool. That's John? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he was probably my favorite personality-wise. But again, but for me, it's all about the powers. But I like slightly more over-the-top stuff. That's why I watch a lot of animes, because they tend to not play it as safe as American superpower stuff goes. Stuff's a lot more over the top or wacko or strange. Not saying that comic books suck or anything, don't get me wrong. But I'm also a weeb, so I'm very biased. No, I didn't want to use a ladder.
We seem to be surrounded by a mob of helpless piggies.
Just kick him aside.
I'm way more powerful than I was last route. Oh, I ate it. The health salve. Oh, you. Oh, that was a good one. I'll get him back. You'd like Teen Lantern? Or the newer Young Justice? A mech like, oh, that's cool. Name kind of stinks though. What, Teen Lantern? No, it's not very good. I mean, it's like a, you know, it rhymes. It's not good. I mean, Green Lantern, if you just hear the word Green Lantern, it doesn't sound cool. But I think it's a neat name, right? Very unique. See, don't you touch them. And it kind of sounds like he said it too, even though I spoke over it. Like, if I were to tell somebody Green Lantern and they didn't know anything about DC, they'd be like,
What's going on?
that sounds...
Dozens of them.
Be like, no, it's a guy with really cool powers. They'd be like, what?
These are creatures of the darkness. Lure them to the light.
But I'm fine with it, personally. Oh, shit.
Aim for that stone statue. It's the leader.
I'm not their leader. It is I who rely on them. It is they who saved me. They understand me as well. Stop hurting my friends!
Oh, you're funny. I'm gonna start crying here.
So it's, So I guess we're killing this man and his friends now. In the fashion that is Nier Automata. It turns out this bad guy... For fuck's sake. I went to hit you and you jumped? It's decent wordplay, it's too... Yeah, it's too easy. And it just sounds lame. It sounds worse than Green Lantern. Just, it's like Mario Jr., you know what I mean? Baby Mario or whatever, Bowser Jr. But those aren't like trying to be a play on words. Those are just descriptive. And that's not like their superhero name.
This is one stubborn son of a bitch.
Damn it.
Hey there, sunshine. Feeling bad for this freak, are ya? Ain't no turning back now. You gotta lust for blood. You gotta embrace the slaughter. All we know is the thrill of battle. Ain't that right, Kaine?
Oh! What about Wario Waluigi? I mean, those are fine, because they're just like negative versions of them, you know? And they like... They just, they're not superheroes. They're not superheroes. They can have, like, not epic sounding names. But Nightclaw, on the other hand, that's a cool name. The Iron Lantern sounds better than the Green Lantern, but it's still kind of lame. Third animated Green Lantern show, surprisingly. What was the one that I liked from? Which one was that? I think I had an animated movie of the Green Lantern around here somewhere on like DVD. I don't remember if I watched it. I think I did. Someone gave it to me. It's like a gift. They knew I liked Green Lantern. I swear I watched it. But it was a long time ago. How cool are you, Nier? Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of the scene with Yona at the end of the game. Nier defeats the Shadow Lord, walks up to Yona, and Yona goes, "Dad, no!" and then runs past Nier towards the Shadow Lord. Rough.
I fear there is little we can do.
No! Kaine! Get back.
What is that?
That's her butt.
It's all over for you, sunshine.
Kaine! Kaine!
Owie.
Look at Kaine's shade!
We've no other choice. We must strike it down.
Kaine! Please come back!
Okay, I'm gonna wait for the dialogue to end, because I know there's missable dialogue. If you kill him too early.
Oh dear.
I'll see ya. Yep, anime as shit. Game reminds me of an anime. Did I kill her already? Did I win?
Kaine! Kaine!
He was at half health.
Kaine.
I couldn't hold it back. I can't be with you.
We're always going to be together, Kaine. If you transform again, we'll just stop it again, as many times as it takes. I don't care how tough it is. We're gonna get you back. I like sleeping outside because I'm with you, Kaine. I'm able to ignore my appearance and keep going because of you. I'm weak and sad and lonely, but somehow you make me strong. You're my friend and I need you, so you can't go away.
All right. Stop crying.
I don't. Did I miss dialogue? Do you know? I don't think I missed any dialogue. Because they were done talking. Unless, like, you waited for quite a bit after that. I don't think I missed any dialogue there.
Thank you.
Time to go to the wiki again.
Right.
Over there. Got a fragment. What is this? I have no idea. How remarkably useless of you. Let's go ask Popola. A cipher of some kind. Can you determine its meaning? I think this is the key to unlock the Shadow Lord's castle. Here, take a look at this. I wrote down all the words I can understand. The fragment is called the Stone Guardian. Given that you found it in the Lost Shrine, the words must mean something. There are spaces for 4 other fragments as well. Sacrifice, the Law of Robotics, the Memory Tree, Loyal Cerberus. The Law of Robotics probably refers to the Junk Heap. And the memory tree might be referred to the forest of the myth, which loves to have more text walls, but we already did those. As for sacrificing Lord Cerberus, I don't have a clue. No problem. If we want to fill in the words, we just got to run around the world killing every big monster we find, right? Oh, splendid. By all means, let us undertake a murderous rampage. We kill them or they kill us. Besides, the only way to reach... It's the only way to reach the Shadow Lord. It won't be easy. No shades and save my daughter. Easiest thing in the world. But how can he even be sure that she's... Because she is alright. The junk keeping the forest of myth, right? I'm on my way. Please be careful. Oh, and listen about Kaine and Emil. Villagers know how much they've sacrificed and they're thankful. It's just, they're scared, you know. People can't change overnight. I'll hurry them along the best I can. Can you please give them a little more time? I guess. Maybe there isn't. Good. I figured there wasn't. We reached the end of the dialogue. They went quiet. I'm not over leveled though, I don't think. Because this game, like I said, you kill everything really fast. In the next playthroughs. Like, I heard that one guy said Route C took him an hour. But Route C, we're going to be getting all the weapons and stuff. So, it's probably going to take a little longer than... We need to get all the weapons before we... have to do the Forest of Myth. I don't think you do. But you can just skip all the dialogue, even so. So, it's not that big of a deal. Thank God. Okay. You know what? That's the end for me.